Ripple.
Alright, this is Ray Carney, and tonight I have with me Brian Williams of LUSTMORD, the man behind LUSTMORD, and also affiliated with many other projects. And
some of them good?
Oh no, they're all pretty good. I enjoy them. And I don't know, introduce yourself a little bit, Brian?
Well, apparently I'm a Ripple, I've just been told, so...
Right on. Cool. Well, cool. I've got a lot of stuff noted here, man. I will try to make it painless, a little bit fun, hopefully.
Make sure you edit all the ums and the fucks, because there's going to be a lot of those.
Oh, man, no, we leave the fucks in, and I've been telling people we got to take the ums out, because I interviewed Camilla.
Oh, yeah.
And me and Camilla did, like, we said over 50 times a piece.
Oh, you have to count. Jesus Christ, that's sad.
Oh, man, yeah, it was fucking, it was interesting. She was my first interview as well.
That's cool. How'd you know Camilla?
Through the internet, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's really about it, and it came off really well. She was excellent, man. She was very nice.
Yeah, she's really good, Camilla.
Well, right on, man. Well, cool.
So what do you want now, then? What can I do for you?
The first thing I wrote down...
Oh, you wrote it down? Well, I haven't written anything down.
Oh, man, I can't memorize all this stuff, man.
I guess that makes me superior.
Oh, man, no, you're elite.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, man. So LUSTMORD is... I've got stuff jotted down on like, the meaning of it. It's German and Swedish for lust murder.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm asking you.
Well, look it up.
Well, that's what I came up with when I was looking it up. Is that kind of why you use that name, or?
No, I use a name. I've been using the name for, let's see, 26, going on for 27 years.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason I chose that name specifically is it because it looks good. Not what it means. When you're doing these things, the kind of things I do, it's kind of hard to describe sometimes, and because I'm very much from the underground scene, the true underground, as word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's you're not going to get any radio. Well, we do now, but when I started off, you weren't getting any radio play or magazine covers and stuff. Anyway, you're getting some of that, but the idea being is the kind of things that I do and the kind of level I'm at is people don't hear the name, they see the name. It's a word. It's kind of a word of mouth, but via latter internet, people are much more likely to see the name rather than hear somebody else mention it. So for me, it's the way a word looks is as important as the way it sounds, or more importantly, what it means. So I chose the name because I thought it was different. It has a connotation. Even people who don't know what it means kind of think they do, or they imagine what it means. Yeah. To me, that's much more interesting than what it actually means.
Yeah, so you're kind of letting the viewer or the audience, viewer, what have you, interpret the meaning.
Exactly.
itself.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, really. I mean, it's not really telling people. It has a meaning, but I chose it. And, in retrospect, years later, I would have chosen a different name, perhaps because of its meaning, but it has a resonance of its own. So that's why I chose it. The meaning isn't really important to me. It's become what now it means. As far as my projects are concerned, it means something else. It means the project. So
cool. Well, cool, man. Yeah, and you started LUSTMORD in the 80s. Is that correct?
Yeah, 81, I think it was. Early 81.
Right on. I know you on Juggernaut. You had King Bozo help you.
Could you call him King Bozo?
Yeah, am I saying it wrong?
Yeah, it's King Buzzo, Buzz, B-U-Z-Z. I prefer your interpretation.
Oh, man. Right on.
Actually, I'm going to call him up afterwards and tell him this guy called me up.
No, what you need to say is this guy, I'm going to go see, the Melvins are going to be here.
Oh,
I'm going to go check him out, yeah, and be like, he'll be watching you guys in Kansas.
Send me a picture so I can give it to Buzz so he can punch you out.
Oh, man, excellent.
And King. Oh, yeah, we call him. All his friends call him Buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah.
Right on.
Anyway, you were asking your questions, or?
Yeah.
I hope you wrote these questions down in pencil.
Oh, man, so I can erase while I'm talking to you. Do you have, with just LUSTMORD by itself, is there other people that work on it with you?
Generally speaking, there's only me, but that's doesn't mean that other people can't work on it. I mean, it's a project. When I originally started, there was other people involved too. Well, actually, it's always been me, but early on, there's 2 or 3 other people that I'd bring in, and they kind of drifted off with other things. But technically, it ended up being me by myself, which kind of sounds really egotistical. And it's not, because I actually prefer working with other people. It's an issue of actually finding people on the same wavelength and kind of get what I'm trying to do, which they have to be a little bit crazy to get it, I guess. And then if they do get it, most people like Buzz are really busy on other projects or not available because they live in a different town or they're touring, other commitments, etc., etc. So I like to work with other people. But most of the time it's me. But for that particular release, it was me and Buzz.
Excellent. Do you just sample things, or do you play any instruments?
I'm a non-musician. I'm proud of it. So
Are you?
Yeah. I can't play anything. Listen to my fucking records. Can't you tell?
Oh man, I get confused when trying to think about musical instruments.
No, I play a few things, but it's all about manipulating sound. Do you use a lot of samples and then just kind of go nuts with it, or? I create my own samples. That's the whole point. I do use samples. Yeah. The ones I create from scratch. So that's the whole point. It's manipulating sound. And I used to do it, with analog and tape, and it used to be a real pain in the ass.
And now you have technology.
So these days it's a Mac, and that's all it is. I've sold all my hardware, I've sold all my gear that I collected over decades, and now I just have a Macintosh.
Oh man, I can't wait till oil paintings get to that level.
Yeah, well, you work with Painter, haven't you?
Yeah. Work with oil paintings. I just cut some new stretcher bars and a lot of work on that right now.
Well, it's not about the tools anyway. It's about the ideas.
It's about the ideas, the content, the expression, what you're trying to do, what you're getting across.
But samples, I guess, is one way of I work with audio, I guess. That's the. I work with sound. I mean the specifics aren't really important. I do use sampling a lot, but it's only a tool.
Cool. Let's see what else I got in my notes here.
I hope you're editing these pauses out.
No, I just asked you something off the top of my head right there.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it worked pretty well.
You're a professional.
Oh, man, I'll never be professional.
You said it, not me.
Oh, man. You tricked me again, damn it.
Well, let's put it this way. It's not difficult.
Yeah. No, I thought it was pretty interesting when looking at a lot of the stuff that you were, you were messing around in caves to get sounds and crypts, slaughterhouses, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, right at the very beginning, yeah. There was a real pain in the ass. But, it was a concept. Sometimes the concept is actually more important than, the end result is important, but, you have these ideas, and I think it's important to do certain things, but, of course, sometimes when you're in the middle of doing certain things, you get really pissed that you thought of it, because it's a real pain in the ass to do. Yeah. So lugging all this gear around and trying to make things work.
Yeah, I can only imagine setting up in a cave.
Dealing with security is usually a problem too, but yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
That was the early days of digital recording. Sony used to have these portable digital recorders, which were really, they're not small by today's standard. They're the size of a small TV or something. And so you'd lug those around, and that was problematic enough, but then you'd have all the batteries and shit, which was, there's always a concept behind all this stuff, and actually going to these specific locations was important in itself.
Yeah, right on. Do you consider yourself more of a performance artist, or when you do a performance, or what have you?
I certainly don't consider myself an artist. I think that's incredibly pretentious to think of yourself as an artist. So, having said that, you probably think of yourself as an artist. But no, I don't.
I don't know. Why don't you think of yourself as an artist, man? You're making creative shit.
Well, yeah. Well, is that a veiled insult there, calling my stuff shit?
Oh no, it's good stuff. I apologize again.
It's like I'm just fucking with you.
That's all right.
No, it's kind of interesting when other people. The way what I do is perceived it's all other people's interpretation. My own, I take my work really seriously, but I can't really take myself too seriously with a lot of this stuff. I do take what I do quite seriously and spent a lot of time on it and a lot of thought on it. But I can't say out loud, call myself out loud an artist. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't roll off my tongue very smoothly, So I just do my thing, and I don't. It's kind of awkward for people like yourself who are trying to ask me questions about the specifics, but I don't really try to explain it. It's just something I do. Actually, I went to art school myself for a short period before I was asked to leave. Actually, it was a mutual agreement that I should leave. I was spent a year in art school because art was something I was really good at, but at the same time, when I was in art school, what it did to me was pretty much persuade me that wasn't a life for me. I really didn't like the art school I went to was full of bullshit, really, and I just wasn't into it.
Oh man, yeah.
And at the same time that I left that, and I haven't done any art since, but it was the same time I was starting to play around with sound instead, and I find myself expressing myself through sound and exploring with sound rather than with images.
Yeah.
So I guess in that sense, you could technically call me an artist, but it's not. I just think the term is so loaded, I don't like.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: it doesn't say artist on my passport.
Yeah, people will come up and say, "Oh, so you're an artist?" And generally, I'll say, "Well, if you want to label me that way."
Yeah. Well, I think there's always, if somebody's conceived as an artist, which is not a bad thing as such, because artists are considered to be, visionary. There's a really long conversation we could have about this in shamanism, madness, and what is the role of an artist in society? I'm not too sure. What is the role of an artist in a species, in our species, as far as evolution? Does it have? I don't know. But, we can talk at length about that. The thing is so loaded as to what an artist is in our society, and it's kind of okay. You can make a living out of it, but there's a perception in general. I'm generalizing terribly here, that to be creative is somehow. Some people like to think of themselves as being better because of it, but I'm not talking about you now, or people in general, but there is a thought that if I've worked on movies and things, for example, too, and there's a thing there, is that people think, there's this glamour associated with that kind of thing. But it's a job like any other. It's like in a shoe store or any kind of auto. Yeah,
man, you're damn right about that. Yeah, it's a huge job.
It's the same thing. One isn't better than the other.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm roundabout trying to say. Is sometimes when somebody alludes to themselves as an artist or somebody else as an artist, there's connotation that's a separate thing. I don't think.
Well, yeah, I get upset with people because they're always like, so you're an artist, you must have a lot of fun. I'm like, no, it's a job.
You struggle to pay the bills, basically.
Yeah, it's almost a plague.
You literally have to be crazy to be an artist. There's actually quite a lot of psychological research and stuff into this thing. Creativity is considered to be very is very often allied to autism, varying degrees of autism, and that's why creative people tend to have these little quirks, antisocial or crazy or whatever. But because they literally are crazy. I mean, not so crazy that they can't function. But the general consensus, the general theory is that in order to be creative, you have to think out of the box. And in order to think out of the box, you literally have to be a little bit crazy. And there is a lot to be said about a connection between varying degrees of autism and creativity. Whether or not that's a good thing for the individual or for society as a whole, I don't really know. Actually, I have opinions about it, but it's a really interesting thing.
What are your opinions?
Well, I think on an individual thing, I think it's good. I mean, I really let myself open for that one because it's really kind of hard to describe.
Yeah.
But I have, first of all, I don't, when we come to things like being crazy, we have to define sanity, and I can't even define what. There's a dictionary definition of sanity or normality or whatever, but there's such a broad range of different people and people's worldviews, people's experience of life, and the way people's individual brains work, that I don't think it's really possible to define what normal or sane actually is. No. In that broad sense.
I agree with you. I don't know. Yeah, and I think being creative, being an artist, also just is being aware of things and talking about things that people don't. Being aware. People are afraid of talking about.
Being aware, I guess, is the one way of putting it, and being open to just being open and exploring and thinking, I guess. And of course, a lot of the time, thinking isn't necessarily a good thing, because you can really, people get really depressed and literally go crazy thinking about things, So you can't think too much. But it's good to think, And of course, you have to feel and care, and if you feel and care, that's, again, you're on dangerous ground.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be angry about stuff, too. If you're not angry, you need passion and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Most of the people I went to art school with were making art about everything they were pissed off about. And, I don't know, I used to make some political art, and that really didn't do a whole lot for me.
As far as your career goes, or on a personal level?
On a personal level, I felt like I was feeding the machine,
That's what I mean. It's really, you're on really dangerous ground when you go down. I think you need to go there, but you have to be really careful. Exploring those things that are, I was going to say dangerous, but dangerous sounds like it's too big a word. It's too glamorous a word for it. But there are some things that, that you can really go over that edge and kind of can go into depression and or get too angry and stuff. So there's a fine line between creativity and insanity, like an insanity. You have to keep on the right side, and don't ask me how. But I like to think that I've stayed on the right side, but what the fuck,
Oh man, I think you need to stay on the right side, but project that you're on the left side. Yeah,
well, we're assuming maybe if you go over the edge, maybe there's maybe.
When you say go over the edge, that brings me back to the idea of sanity. And, what is sanity? The people we think crazy today would be shamans and people like that 100 years ago, and it's just, I don't know, to me it's really sad how a lot of those people get treated now. It's just bizarre.
When you think about normal and what, the mainstream, if you want to stay on a political level, for me, like, people like Bush get voted in because many people voted for him. I'm like, well, if that's normality and if that's the norm, I'm not too sure if I want to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
On a political step, I'm not talking from a left-right thing. I just think the guy, somebody like him, who's so plainly an idiot. There's been other people on the Republican side. I'm not Republican, by the way.
No, man, I'm not any party.
Neither am I, but I'm okay. I'm okay with living in a society that's. The whole purpose of democracy is that the majority view is represented. Well, I'm okay with that as long as as long as we don't have a sort of nutcase like Bush. I'm going off on the slab, but like when you're using those kind of examples of what normality or that's a bad example because there wasn't a majority, but those kind of examples, and you kind of think, and the amount of people that do eat McDonald's and go for crap, on every level, I think that's what I'm trying to say. You can take away Bush's name and McDonald's, but it's kind of disappointing what the norm is, because the norm is absolute fucking crap, and it would be nice.
The norm is the horrible trend.
It would be nice if more people demanded better, It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't mean I have to agree with it. They might want to go in a different direction, completely different direction as to what I think is the correct direction, but I wish they would just fucking go in a better direction.
No, I think a better term is I wish they would just fucking think for themselves.
Exactly.
And unhook from the trend and fucking see the forest for the trees, or whatever you want to say.
It's easier not to think for yourself. That's the problem.
No, it is. What's interesting, I got into this with someone else on an interview, was the idea that there's a lot of these new ideas coming to fruition now that are on the mainstream more so. And people are like, oh, wow, we just found this out. And it's like, no, you dumb fuck. It's been there for 50 years, but you guys, it hasn't been mainstream. So
what kind of things are you talking about?
Just like in religions and all sorts of stuff.
Well, there's that thing now, that book, The Secret, all that crap. Jesus Christ, Fucking hell, what you guys being,
Yeah, exactly. Well, to me, it boils down to this, too. A lot of times, instead of turning the fucking news on, you need to fucking do some research.
Instead of turning the news on, you need to make the news, I guess.
Yeah,
I haven't played live for years. I've been thinking about doing it again. I was planning to do it again, and then Church of Satan asked me to play on the 666. How could I?
Oh man,
especially with the image I have with my music and stuff like, Jesus, that's perfect. Like.
Oh yeah, no, I bet people are like, wow, you are Satan.
Well, yeah, you get that, yeah.
I have something jotted down here that probably may not have anything to do with anything, and you can call me out on that.
So far, that's been the case, yes.
Right on. I am the idiot that talks. I don't know. I have Throbbing Gristle. Is that...
You have no idea what that is, do you?
No, I do. I've listened to them quite a bit.
I'm sorry, I'm only kidding.
Is that an inspiration, or have you worked with those guys or anything?
They were an inspiration because it was about 76, 77 I first became aware of them when they were starting off. And they did their first album, which I'd heard about. It sounded really interesting.
Yeah.
It was really difficult to find. I think they only pressed about 800 and something of them. But I finally got a copy, and that it was, not only was it how I imagined it would be, but it was really interesting. This was when the whole punk thing was by the way, I'm really a purist about stuff like punk and industrial and stuff. For me, industrial, finished in 81 when the label by the same name disbanded, and punk was over by 1977. Everything after those periods is just imitation and can't see the point.
Complete imitation and people trying to market and sell bullshit.
People completely missed the point what those things were about. They were not about wearing a uniform or doing, cookie cutter music. They were about ideas and they were about invention and stuff. It wasn't about copying. But it was really ironic that both of those scenes are now just a formula, and it was never a formula. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I was aware of them, and because I thought what they were doing was really interesting and very different. If you look back at it now, it doesn't sound as different, but when at the time, when there was nothing else like that, it was very different. So I got in touch with them, and we kind of corresponded for a while, and then we met. I used to go to see their gigs quite often and stuff. And I became particularly friends with Chris and Cozy, who were half of the band.
Right on.
They're still two of my closest friends. They were kind of suggesting that why I should be doing this myself, not listening to people like them, and of course they were right, so I did. So yeah, they were an inspiration because they did something different and interesting, and they were very much an inspiration because Chris and Gozy were two of the 3 or 4 people who said, I should do it myself, which it was, in hindsight was pretty obvious, but sometimes you need somebody else to tell you this stuff,
You need someone else to kick you in the balls so you'll do it.
Well, yeah. Well, you need somebody else to tell you that it actually might be worthwhile for you to, that you could do something of worth,
Yeah.
It's good for your own ego to think that you're worthy, but I think, but I also think...
Reinforcement helps.
Yeah, but personally I also think that it's good to be grounded and not think too highly of yourself.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's good to be humble with what you're doing and not be an ego fucking maniac. Well, yeah, man, I don't know, Brian. What do you look at or listen to for inspiration?
Well, it's inspiration, that's a standard question, by the way, so I shouldn't even bother answering that.
Damn it. Again.
But yeah, at least you said what do I watch and listen to? That's kind of different, because my inspiration is all over the place. I mean, inspiration is, I don't want to be trite about it, but it's life, it's relationships, it's conversations, it's catching something in a movie, reading a book, going take my dog out for a hike. You're always thinking about things, you're always assimilating what's around you, and sometimes you filter stuff, you think there's no real specific thing. It's not everything, obviously.
We haven't even got to your album yet, but why did you have like a 25-year hiatus?
It wasn't planned, to put it that way. It was, I got involved in another band for a while, and I was touring with them and stuff. So there's an industrial band called SPK. It was one of the very first industrial bands in...
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Well, they became really crap later on. But anyway, I was touring, I was a live member, and I was behind the scenes with that and stuff. They're doing a record label, and it was kind of busy, basically. And also, it's kind of ironic, early on when I was doing stuff, it was kind of difficult to do the kind of thing I did live because it was complicated. And then later on, when I was using more and more equipment and all this high-tech nonsense, then it became kind of everything was created in the studio. Then the idea, how the hell do you take the studio on tour? And more recently, everything's become much smaller again, which you're actually fitting inside the Mac and being very powerful. And now, and then for the first time in many years, I realized I could do it. And actually, I saw Kraftwerk live here in LA about 2 or 3 years ago. Because I never, so technically I could do it, and I could just go along with my computer, plug in, and actually do things live for the first time, rather than just pressing play. Actually create things, there and then. Do you do it kind of spontaneously sometimes? Yeah, but it didn't look really. Somebody standing there with a computer looks like, it's not exactly interesting, you know what I mean? But anyway, the idea of doing it was, let's put it this way: I wouldn't pay to go and see somebody doing that. Unless, but then I saw Kraftwerk live, and that's what they were doing, just 4 of them, and it was really, I thought it was a really good show. Yeah, you pick up their live album. They have a live double album, Minimum, Maximum, Minimum, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a really good album, Anyway, going back to the question, is, the time, I was able to do it again, and somebody asked if I would do a show, and actually the show I did was for the Church of Satan, that was the main reason I did it, because it's just I got this phone call asking if the Church of Satan was doing first public ritual ever, and it was I think it was their 30th anniversary or whatever it was, 50th anniversary, and they'd ask if I would do the live accompaniment to it, and I just it was and it was on 666. So when somebody calls you up, the Church of Satan, and they want you to play live at their event on 666. Well, geez, how can you sit and not say it was just too? You had to have a sense of humor about this stuff. Yeah, the idea of actually playing a gig at a Church of Satan function on 666 was just too funny to say no. That's one of my questions for you. It's interesting. I don't know. The revelation. I don't even know how they came up with it, but it's actually 616. Well, that's been around for years, though. I mean, this stuff, because the internet, this stuff resurfaces every now and again. Yeah. Well, it's like, Jesus was born on December the 25th and all this crap. You know, I mean, these dates could change all the fucking times in history. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, with the whole satanic thing. Well, and of course the Church of Satan thing is a recent phenomenon anyway. But all these things, they get reinterpreted as mistranslations. I don't believe any of this stuff anyway, so I mean, it's kind of interesting the way information gets garbled. It's like Chinese whispers spread over 2,000 years or whatever, Oh, it's about the whole 666 thing. Yeah, I mean, you can argue about how authentic that date is and, biblical. I think you're right, but that wasn't the point. I mean, as far as popular culture is concerned, 666, there's all this, scary stuff around it, And with you saying that, I'll say this: sometimes you have to deal with what you create and how people interpret it. People think I'm a hardcore atheist. I don't believe in any dogma. So I have no room for all that stuff in my life. Yeah, man, I've been actually struggling with that because I just read an Alex Gray book about artwork. And he gets super religious in it, and I'm like, well, fuck. So you mentioned Butcher, Alex Gray. I see a theme here. Oh man, yeah. Oh man, I was hoping you wouldn't see that theme. So you're one of these tool nerds, eh? Oh man, oh dude. Oh, I figured you had. You ruined it for me already. No, it's all right. No, I would love to do that. I'm a huge Tool fan. I'll have to admit that. Well, somebody has to be, I guess. Oh man, you are too. Don't lie. Well, I admire them now. I didn't even familiar with that music until I got to know them. So. Well, yeah. Well, you worked with them. When I saw them live, after listening to some of your stuff. I remember there's one part in their live show, I saw them 3 times on this tour, and where the disc come down kind of like a UFO or something, man. Towards the end of it, yeah, man, I was like, that's LUSTMORD. It's got to be LUSTMORD to help you out. I know you're kind of affiliated with some of their I should be standing on that thing coming down with a big dry ice and shit. Yeah, they just do as I tell them to do, so it's okay. Really? They just do what you tell them to do? Yeah. That's excellent. I got a brain behind it. I say, play some crappy guitar riffs. They play the crappy guitar riffs. Yeah. And you're like, I'll put in the real music later, guys. Exactly. Yeah, just do your fucking thing. I'm just a puppet master behind them. No, dude, I got to the wizard today is what I'll tell them. Right on, man.
Well, cool. Now, I'm going to ask you about Juggernaut, and I'm probably going to be completely off base about a lot of this stuff.
Well, only one. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah.
That's important. I think that's really important. There is no such thing as a stupid question. How the hell are you supposed to learn if you don't ask a question?
No, and there's another aspect of learning when you're teachers. You got to be receptive to be able to learn from your student, too, and a lot of teachers don't get that shit at all, and they're
not there to learn. They're there to teach, but I know what you're saying, but just one thing I despise is people who belittle people when they ask questions. You should always ask questions. I think it's important to question stuff.
No, yeah, it is. We go back to Timothy Leary, question everything. All right.
Anyway, you have some questions that you don't know what the hell you're talking about, basically.
Oh, yes, and you were clarifying beautifully.
Thank you.
On the Juggernaut album, you worked with King. Say his name for me. Bozo?
Yeah. Look at.
I don't know where the hell I came up with Bozo.
Well, I'm not saying anything.
Oh man, I just feel really bad about saying that now, man.
You're gonna feel worse when I call him up and tell him.
Tell him he's gonna be at your show at the Bottleneck in Lawrence.
Well, rest assured, Buzz has a very healthy sense of humor.
Right on. Excellent, man. I don't know. I was looking at Juggernaut, and then I was looking at the songs. It's interesting because for me, when I was looking at I actually researched the show that I had in 2004.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the exact title for the show, but it actually fit with the Erie Prime Able item.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I wasn't even aware of that. So, maybe on a subconscious level I was, but.
The subconscious is.
But those titles relate to something quite different that myself and Buzz have an interest with, and it's referenced in some of my other work too. So. And the next one, which I'm working on now, it all comes together on the next album, which I'm just about finished. When does that come out? I'm not too sure. To have it out this year, I was supposed to deliver it in August, but I got really busy with this other stuff, and I haven't delivered it yet, so it's going to be next year sometime.
I was going to ask you, I've noticed on a lot of the stuff that you've released, you've waited several years before you release it.
It's because I'm busy doing other stuff, It's
right on.
Yeah, it's not like I'm a band and I do tour album, and this is how I make my living, is doing audio and music, sound design. But LUSTMOD it's very important to me, but it's not so important that I don't have to do an album every year. I don't have to. I do an album when I feel I have something to say. And sometimes either I do have something to say, but I'm really busy with some kind of day job stuff, other music-related stuff.
Yeah.
Or I don't really, I don't feel I need to do an album now, but
I think that's beautiful that it's not forced.
So recently there's been a few more albums because I have, there's a few things I still want to kind of work with and try out. But there's been 5, 6, I think 7 years or some type of gap because no big deal.
No. I think it's good when that happens because when you start forcing the shit out, it's
not necessarily the best way to go about having a career doing this, but I'm the last person you should listen to if you want a career doing this. No.
I honestly, a lot of times I plug your stuff in when I'm painting so that I don't have something that's so lyrically driven behind it. So that I have essentially just a real good, I would say, ambient feeling going around.
Well, it's interesting because I get a lot of painters, sculptors, special effects people, I think, tell me that they do use my music in that way, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a compliment that, it's actually...
No, yeah,
it means what I'm doing is of some use, which is...
No, yeah, you're very, like, when I'm working on something, you're very inspirational, and you're not kicking in the face with an idea a lot of times.
You're away in the background there.
Yeah, no, and it's just... It's something, I don't know, another thing I listen to a lot, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Akira?
Well, of course, yeah. Which version? Well, the soundtrack, there's 2 or 3 soundtracks, and I have 3 different things.
Is there?
There's the...
I don't know which one I've got, but it's beautiful.
Well, the music was done by Genya Yoshimaguchi from Japan, if I remember correctly, and I have about 7 or 8 of their CDs. Some of them aren't very good, but there's a couple of them are very similar to Akira, the choirs and the percussion and stuff. Actually, I also have some field recordings of the similar bamboo gamelan stuff that they used in that as well.
Yeah,
I have a really broad, very broad taste in music. I have all kinds of weird and obscure music here.
I'm getting even more weird and obscure with my music, but...
what kind of things are you listening to now?
Your stuff right now I'm listening to,
Which is neither weird or obscure, of course.
No, it's Jesus juice is what your stuff is.
Exactly.
Oh, man. But no, that stuff I listen to, I have to say I listen to Tool. I've been listening
you really did, eh?
Oh, man, I've been listening to a lot of Atmosphere, which is a rap artist that's not into the I'm a drug-dealing, gun-slinging idiot.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, have you ever heard of the Secret Chiefs 3?
Secret Chiefs, that rings a bell.
I was listening to them. We just did an interview with them that came across really weird and good.
I think I'm thinking, who are they? I don't think I know them.
Trey Spruance. They run Mimicry Records.
No, I don't know. I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah.
But they're pretty interesting. At first I was listening to them and I was like, what the fuck is this? You know? And I was like, and that's generally when I get brought something new, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I'm not one to throw it out.
Uh-huh.
I'll keep it around and listen to it again and again until I kind of, a lot of times, take something from it, you know, and say, oh, yeah, that's what it is. Even though I may be completely wrong, like in most cases I am.
Well, it's cool finding something new that you're not aware of before. And then what I do, I think you're probably doing the same, is you find out where did this come from and what are they referring to. Then you find who influenced these people, and then there's a whole area to explore. You know?
It was interesting when I was researching that show, because like I said, I just got a degree in oil painting. I was researching that show, and I was like, this guy's selling people pussy and cars. And I was like, in the academic sense, that's very offensive and yada, yada, yada. But I was like, so you can actually make money not being so fucking academic. It's a lot of this stuff really is opening my eyes when I'm doing stuff.
Yeah. Well, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy too, which helps.
Yeah.
Actually, he was at the. Funny enough, I didn't know it at the time, but he was at the. Well, I knew it because I saw him there. He was at that Church of Satan thing too. He's one of the very few other non-Satanists that were there. So it was
interesting.
Yeah, he knows the leader of the Church of Satan and stuff.
The Church of Satan stuff is really interesting to me because you would have to really believe in Jesus as well.
Well, exactly. That's the whole premise. You have to believe in the literal truth of the Bible to believe in the literal truth of Satan. And since I don't believe in one, I don't believe in the other. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. One of the reasons I don't believe in a lot of that stuff is because people fight about it. We've had wars for centuries about it.
Well, just because somebody fights over something doesn't make it untrue. I'm a hardcore skeptic, and I think it's really healthy to be skeptical.
Well, yeah, no. I think honestly, when you're talking about the Bible, you're talking about a big comic book.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's what I always tell people is I'm like, yeah, I believe in Superman.
Well, because it's more like the grim fairy tales when they collected all these legends stuff. Yeah, it's more the lessons or anything else. And I think it's kind of I'm not a Christian, but I definitely have morals, and I like to actually.
You're not Christian, and you have morals.
Well, it's kind of sad, really, because you realize that on many levels, I'm certainly not suggesting I'm superior, but I behave. I like to think, at least, to make sure you quote me there. I like to think that I behave much better than many so-called Christians do. Because I do treat people equally, and I do try and look after my neighbor, and all this stuff. You don't have to be a Christian to believe in certain fundamental truths or certain fundamental things that are right. Some things are undeniably right. And some things like racism, for example, racism is plainly wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's idiotic.
You don't have to be of a political, religious persuasion or all that. Some things are just, it's intrinsically, it's sort of fucking obvious as something.
Yeah, it's super obvious.
And treating people decently and being decent is the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be a Christian to be aware of that stuff. You don't need to tell you that. We're digressing again, but yeah, you have to believe in the literal truth of the Bible to believe in. But a lot of Satanists don't believe in that stuff. A lot of them, there is a lot of humor in it too, which is really what a lot of people don't get. It's really funny because we did this Church of Satan thing. It was myself, was there, Tracy, my wife, and I think there was about 3 of us that were non-members of the church. And everybody was really nice, and me being me, I was making fun of them because it was just, how could you not make fun of the whole thing? But they were really good-natured, but they had a really good sense of humor about it. And what I really liked about it was nobody tried to persuade us that nobody tried to convince us that they were right, or that we should think along there.
No, that's beautiful.
I like that. That was nice.
Yeah, I can deal with belief systems as long as you don't push them on me.
Exactly. If somebody wants to believe in the literal truth of the Bible, that's their own business. Personally, I have to say I think it's a bit silly to do so, but people are entitled to. I mean, it doesn't make me right and them wrong. And if they want to believe that stuff, that's fine. But when they come to my front door and try and persuade me,
that's
I get really pissed, because I do not go to their front door with my views. So I get, then I get really pissed.
Maybe you should, though,
Well, but what? It would be rude.
But, no, actually, right now I was going to ask you about the Puscifer stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What should people expect with that?
They should expect fun more than anything else.
Right on. What is your donation towards that project?
$10.
$10?
Yeah. I think I wrote the music for 3 tracks, and I worked on a couple of others, I think. It started off I was working on a couple of tracks, and it became more. I think I did 3 tracks. I did the 4th track, which is not on the album. It will be maybe something further down the line. And I also got involved in at least a couple of the other tracks, but I kind of lost track, to be honest with you.
Or is it going to be more like atmospheric stuff with like how a lot of your LUSTMORD stuff is?
You're going to have to wait and find out.
Oh, man, I don't like wait.
No, quite a few people have been intrigued by the idea of my working with Maynard, who, I don't know if you were aware of his other work. He has a couple of bands that he's in. And the people kind of assume that it's going to be a certain kind of music that we're working on, but it's not what people assume at all.
No. I've got that, and I've got that from, I read there's a Rolling Stone interview about him, and he was like, Aretha Franklin, Jackson 5, he was like, this is more meaningless in a sense.
I've seen some of these. He's shown me. I've read some of those myself, but he's shown me some, and one thing about Maynard, he has a very healthy sense of humor, which is why we get on really well. Actually, we have a very similar sense of humor. But he's. I think some people were under the impression that it was like a joke band. It's certainly a fun band. There's certainly a lot of humor in it, but it's not a joke. We're all taking it very seriously. Yeah, well, when Maynard is doing these interviews and stuff, he tends to have his tongue very firmly in his cheek. People expecting Tool are going to be very disappointed. It's gospel, hip hop, Motown. It's nothing like any of those, but it has more elements from grooves and kind of soul and stuff like that more than it does from rock. No, that'd be excellent. It does have a sound of its own, which is really cool. So that's what's good about it. So
excellent. Reading something else, Maynard was like, he's like, I'm trying to do this where I do this river dance for this video or something like that. And I was like, that'd be interesting.
Oh, you haven't seen me do a river dance.
Oh, man, well, that's why you got to come to Kansas and play this stuff for me and do the river dance while you're playing.
You have to get a couple of beers, I'll do anything, basically.
Oh, man.
So the Puscifer stuff is more, I think, it's fun. I mean, it's, people assume because you're doing something, it's kind of weird, because it's Maynard's project, obviously, because he has the whole Tool thing, people take what he does very seriously, they really analyze the fuck out of.
Well, I think, honestly, they take a lot of it too seriously.
Yeah, well, exactly. And the same with my stuff, people are analyzing, which is kind of nice compliment, but some people, not everybody, luckily, but some people will really get annoyed if you kind of, if you're having fun sometimes.
No, you gotta have fun.
You can be really serious about something. You can be, dare I say, intellectual. You can, have all kind of ideas.
Not you.
But you can, exactly. I say one. Okay, I'll rephrase that. One can be intellectual, but I can take it. And
right on,
the thing is, you can also have fun. I think you can do both. Puscifer, it's fun. I mean, it's not a joke. It's funny, but it's.
I'm really digging the theme for the album. V is for vagina. Oh man, yeah, I like the comments on that. I think to me it's kind of like a comment on pop culture.
Well, I just rolled my eyes on that one. He told me he told me he wanted to use that as a title a while back, and it's Maynard is when he told me the title that he wanted to use, you can't tell with Maynard. Is he serious? Is that the title he wants to use, or is he just fucking with me? Because he's always fucking with you, and I always fuck with him too. So it's that kind of. And then I kind of, that is a title. Oh, okay.
No, I think it's awesome, man, because I think a lot of Tool fans, in particular, are going to be like,
what the fuck? Yeah.
No, and they're looking for this deep meaning, like he's Jesus.
Well, he is Jesus. That's okay.
No, he's not Jesus. He's a dude in a cowboy hat.
Well, I think Tool is a different example, and it's an interesting example. But they're a band who are very successful, and they have a hardcore group of fans. But they have more than one fan base. You know what I mean? They have the core group who kind of more savvy about what's going on. But they also have this knucklehead kind of element too. You know, I think if you're a certain kind of successful guitar band, you tend to draw out a certain element anyway. So you go to their gigs where there's some pretty fucking stupid people there too. Which is a shame because they have a core audience which is actually very intelligent. Well, no.
Is it ignorance or stupidity?
That's a good question. Actually,
there's a difference.
There's a big difference. Ignorance is fine. I mean, we're all ignorant about something.
Yeah, exactly.
And ignorance is not being educated about something. So it goes back to my saying about no such thing as a stupid question. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant. I myself am ignorant about many things. Kind of stuff I know something. I know a little bit about everything, so that makes me dangerous. See, if you're doing something that has a following, a certain percentage will be this, a certain percentage will be that, etc. And there's usually a small percentage who are kind of stupid. I mean, it's always very, very small. So when you're really successful, a very, very, very small percentage is actually a large group of people. You know, making sense?
Yeah, exactly. When you get a big percentage.
And they tend to be the ones that are more outspoken and stuff like that. But it's kind of cool because nobody gives a fuck what they think anyway. And they're exactly the ones that are going to be pissed by Puscifer. But that doesn't matter. They're they're not supposed to like it anyway. And if they're offended, well, that's a good thing. And like I did some remixes for Tool, for example, and some people liked them. What was nice for me is that what was important is the band liked them. They're the ones that paid for them.
Yeah, no, man. I thought they were pretty. I've listened to them, and I was going to ask you about them, but
Well, anyway, but the thing is that some people really hate them, which is fine. I don't care if they hate them.
And you kind of made it your own thing, really.
Well, sometimes somebody really criticized it and saying, "Oh, you've ruined the tracks." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The tracks are still there. Put the album on there. The tracks. Yeah, here's the CD. Here's the Tool album. There's a track. It's still there. I haven't done anything to the track. But that's that knucklehead element to start fights at gigs or who gives a fuck? Nobody gives a fuck what they think anyway. So.
Oh man, how many times do you think we said fuck?
It's actually less than usual as far as I'm concerned. Well, we should get at least one cunt in. We have two cunts now. So.
Oh yeah, no man. Here's a comic book, and this is something you should pick up because we're referencing cunts. It's called Creasy, and it's by Warren Ellis.
What's it called?
It's called Creasy, and it's about the Battle of Creasy between the French and English.
Oh yeah.
And it's awesome because the opening line is something like, he's like, one of the French or English guys is like, we say cunt a lot just for punctuation.
Exactly, yeah.
So on my next interviews, after every sentence I make, I'm going to say cunt.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. It'll probably piss a lot of people off.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting here, because living here in America as well is...
Oh, they're offended by it, huh?
Oh, yeah, but people get it's ranging, like, somebody cuts you off in a car, or, there's people, when people get really offended and they want to be really, they really want to put you in your place, say, you fucking asshole. It's kind of funny because I have a lot of fun with this stuff, because you have to point out to people, there's thousands of years of evolution of the language and English, and we have all these great writing from Shakespeare and Byron, all the, I quote the thing, and then the richness of the language, and all you can come up with is asshole. I mean, Jesus, where I come from, you can fucking, there's a whole lexicon of rich insults, put downs, and ad-libbing and stuff. It's kind of interesting. I find it really interesting here in the States that asshole is about the sum total of call, of offense,
Oh, no, I've got several words to offend people.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, I'm just it's kind of interesting how many times somebody's really trying to put you in your place by calling you an asshole. Like, well, first of all, I don't give a shit what you think anyway. Then secondly, is that really the best you can do?
They're always doing that to me.
Well, I wonder why.
Oh, man, because maybe I am an asshole, but it's all right, man. Oh, man. You got any questions for me?
Why do you bother?
Why do I bother? Well,
I'm kidding.
No, that's a good question. Why do I bother? I don't know. I found it kind of mundane because I'm making this artwork and I was relying on academics to give me feedback on it, and they were completely missing the point with stuff. And then, like, talking with you or with other people about and I'm going to call it artwork.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I don't have any problem. Yeah. But, something, I guess.
It gives me a little bit of feedback on how to go about my artwork and what is okay, because the academics really made me afraid to approach certain things. Well, it really did. I'll let you carry on. I don't mean to interrupt, but you're good.
Just I'll let you carry on in a sec. I just want to interject there for a sec. First of all, I really am the last person you should be taking any advice from, because
whatever.
No, seriously. No, I mean that's fine. Because I tend to be outspoken, and I could be much more successful in working on movies or wherever if I didn't speak my mind. And
I value that. I
thank you. I mean, I can't change it. I mean, so I am. I have no intention of changing it, but unfortunately, it works against me most of the time. But I always say, don't listen to other people. You should listen to some people. The only people you should listen to are the people who are close to you and have your own best interest at heart, and tell you, like a friend tells you need a fucking haircut or you have bad breath, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Those people you should listen to. But everybody else, just do your own thing. I mean, it's important to keep on doing your own thing. Unfortunately, the chances are that you won't be successful at it.
Yeah, I know.
Because the odds are against you being successful. There's only so many people can be successful, and there's a lot of people trying to do the kind of thing you're trying to do. So there's that factor as well. But only so many can be successful. But it's important to try, I think, because you know this already. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. But the thing is that you have to do it because it's what you do.
Oh, well, cool, man. I think we're pretty much done.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I think while you're off the phone, if your girlfriend had any sense, you probably said, come on, dude.
Yeah, she's like, motherfucker, we got a fucking hotel room. Let's go.
Go. Don't let me help you.
You want to help me cut an outro for this show?
Oh, yeah, I have to hold your hand as well? What kind of outro?
Caress me a little bit. All right, this is Ray Carney and Brian Williams for Ripple.
So sleep well, everybody.
Sleep well.
And don't try this at home.